Minecraft 1.14's Village and Pillage update came with the addition of the new Composter block, allowing players to farm for bone meal. But why stop there? What if there were also ways to use it for building and more? My name is System Z, and here are 8 ways to use the Composter block in Minecraft. If you enjoyed the video and want to support my channel and help me make videos in the future, consider becoming a member, where you'll be invited to my Minecraft and Discord servers, as well as have a chance to help me with new videos through exclusive community posts. Click the join button below for more information, and also thank you to those of you who have become a member since my last video. Alright everybody, hello and welcome again to another video where we take a specific block and show different ways to use them than what they are originally meant for. Today we are looking at the new Composter block, which as you can see has various different textures and a lot of cool possibilities because of it. The model looks like a basket. It's hollow in the middle. It allows you to put bone meal type materials, so apples, anything really grown that's natural and organic to create bone meal. But it's got various different textures. If we go ahead and break this, you can see on the bottom it's got a texture, on the side it's got a texture, and of course a very unique model. So we can use this for a lot of cool decorations, ideas, and designs. And that leads us to our first one, which is of course trees. In this case, palm trees. As you can see, I've used the side texture to create this very nice tree trunk that honestly fits perfectly for this type of design. I really couldn't see any other tree fit with it, so that's why I went with the palm tree. Now the only downside here is, as you know, a lot of tree builders, including me, like to kind of build them at a slant to add a little bit more life and organics to the world of Minecraft. But unfortunately, this does not work because it's hollow. And this just kind of looks bizarre, if you look at it from above anyways. Now you could put a trapdoor and a slab there, but the textures wouldn't match, and ultimately it wouldn't look that great. But if you do it just like this, straight up with some leaves and some coconut player heads, for example, and place it in a scene much like this, where we've got sand and coarse dirt, I think it looks very well. It blends together, and a couple of months ago, or I believe sometime last year, Mojang actually said they would like to add palm trees. This would be how I imagine they would add them. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to idea number 2. Up next, we've got another simple design, but stepping it up a little bit, we've got crates and boxes. I've created this little dock here, as you can see, which has a lot of cool stuff going on, and a lot of things that I'd love to show you, but instead we're going to focus only on what I'm doing with the Composter. But let me know if you'd like a video showing how you can use the other blocks to create really cool walls and all of that good stuff. Now in this case, I've basically just created shipping crates, as you can see here. We've just thrown a trapdoor on top and some signs around it, and that just gives it a nice use of, some sort of storage blocks. There's only a few different blocks in the game that work for this, and fortunately the Composter is one of them. So if you want to change it up and add, different other blocks like barrels and note blocks to complement these and just have different types of crates, then you can definitely use them this way. But very, very simple. That is going to be it for this design. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Up next, we have one that you've probably actually seen before. A lot of players immediately went to this for decoration, a beehive. The Composter obviously works perfectly as a beehive, whether it be like this or in a tree. I know Grian actually used this in one of his videos recently, so this is definitely nothing new, but in case you haven't seen it, this is a really, really good use for it, especially if it were hanging from a tree. So if you have a plains biome or a forest that you want to really spruce up, this is definitely a great way to do it. Now, if you did have access to player heads, you could also put bees around. I think that's a great touch, or even a honey pot or something laying around. So that is essentially the easiest way to use the block, but the most effective. Now let's go ahead and move on to something a little bit more exciting. Next up, we've got one of my personal favorite uses for the Composter block. This is something that I think is really going to change the game of interior decoration going forward, especially for stores. So all of you interior designers out there, I think you're gonna like this one. This is very cool. So as you can see here, I've built a shop, or at least the facade of a shop. And if we go ahead and take a step in, we've got Clark the Clerk, who was named by the lovely Mrs. System Z. I think that's a great name. Clark the Clerk, let's take a look at his shop. Looks like he's selling some armor, as you can see here. but the way he's showcasing it is a little different than anything I've personally seen before. I know a lot of people like to use the armor stands to create something similar to this, but a lot of redstone is involved. If you take a composter and an armor stand and simply place the armor stand inside, you can essentially avoid having to use any redstone at all. Just like that, you're ready to go with a nice display. Now, this really only works if you're doing chest plates and helmets. Unfortunately, if you were to do pants, obviously they would be hidden, but you could still do that. Now, you can also, from what I've discovered, is put snow underneath a composter block and then push it down on top, and you can control how high up the armor stand is. You can also drop multiple in here, and we're actually going to have a design later on that shows something similar to this. So there's a lot of cool ways you can use this for a display stand. I'd love to get your opinions of this. This is one of my personal favorite, and I think it looks great in shops. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of design number 4, showcase stands. Next up, we've got a potted plant, but this one is a little different than any that I've seen before using the composter. A lot of people immediately got leaves in a composter, started filling it up to get some soil in there. It's gonna take a minute, but as you can see, we're doing that. There we go. And of course, place leaves on top. And this looks okay, but honestly, it could definitely be better. This is a little bit lacking in detail and definition. It's just very blocky. But if you do exactly as we did in the previous design and place an armor stand inside and begin to drop them at different angles, and this is entirely optional, you could really probably get away with only one armor stand, and then of course build a tree on top of that, you get a nice stem for a potted plant, and this looks amazing, and I'm very excited to see the different ways people are going to do this. So let me know what you think of that and how you would do it. You could of course use different leaves, different decorations. If you had player heads, you can put them all through it, different sizes. There's a lot of cool ways you could do this, and this is only the beginning. But as you can see, using armor stands and of course the composter, and if you fill it with soil as well, it looks pretty good. This is about as close to a potted plant as I think we're really gonna get in the game. So that's why I'm pretty excited about it. But let me know what you think and what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Hi, my name's System Z, and has this ever happened to you? You've just created a brand new base on a brand new multiplayer server, and a bad player came up and just stole all of your loot? Well, look no further. I've got just the solution for you, and it uses the brand new composter block. As you can see here, we've got an ordinary bedroom, but there are many secrets hidden within this bedroom. And this is actually a really cool way to use the composter. Unfortunately, it's the only way to use redstone, or at least it's the only one using redstone in this video. I'm sorry, I'm a builder, not a redstonist, but I'm sure there's a lot of good uses for the composter with redstone as well. But this is too good not to include. So, as you can see, we've got a bedroom here. Nope, our precious ores are not in there, but there are some apples. But who needs apples? Let's just go ahead and move on to the next house to rob. That's what a bad player would think. But you know that's actually not the truth. You can walk up, grab these apples, and use them on this composter block. And just fill it all the way up until, boom, you've unveiled a secret chest filled with diamonds, and the bad players didn't even know about it. And the great thing is, you can just walk up, right click, boom. Completely hidden. This is completely seamless and very unexpected. This is a great way to use the composter block. And the way it works is, as you can see here, we've got a little bit of redstone. So if we go ahead and fill this up with apples, you can see a comparator actually puts out a signal, and that's the way it works with most blocks that work in this system, where you can slowly fill it up. The more you fill it up, the powerful the more power goes to the signal. So once it's actually filled, it'll draw back the block using the sticky piston, and then of course we can just take that away if we want to close it back. So that's a very cool way to use the composter, but I think the greatest thing about this is the fact that it's completely seamless. This could be an ordinary bedroom. Because of the way the composter block looks with jungle wood, you really wouldn't expect that this is anything more than just a decorated bedroom. So that is a great way to hide those precious ores of yours and make sure that players do not steal them. You could also use it for hidden entrances and all of that kind of stuff, which I do plan on making a video about. So make sure to subscribe to check that out. And anyways, let me know what you think of this design in the comments down below, and let's move on to the next. Next up, we've got something a little bit more simple, and this actually works very well if you've got a pathway, but this works in really all sorts of different situations. In this situation, I've got a forest that uses path lighting that is essentially a Tiki Torch, much like you can see here. Now this is a very simple one and really relies on a lot more than the Composter block, but I just wanted to show you how you can use it in conjunction with other blocks to create something very, very cool. So all this is of course a campfire with some signs around it with a composter and a fence below it. If you space this out in the right distance, this is a very, very good Tiki Torch, which is why it works in various different ways. Plus the smoke acts sort of like a beacon. This is just a great way to kind of dress up a campfire, but that's a very simple one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Last but certainly not least, we've got a bit of a speed round. This is an example of various different furniture designs that you can really use the composter block for. And there are a lot more than this, but this just gives you a general idea of what's possible. So this is a bit of a meme, but you can use it as a trash can. And honestly, it's the first thing I thought of. The only bad thing is if you walk up, you collect the item. So don't walk up to it. If you don't walk up to it and just walk away, then you've got a nice closed off trash can. Or if you put this at the foot of a bed, you've got a nice dresser that could go at the very end, or at least a storage bin. I think that looks very, very good. Now, we've also got a dog food bowl. As you can see here, we've got a bit of a bed system for the dog. We've got a bone and a bowl of food, which is actually just a composter, which has been filled all the way up. The texture just gives off a nice dog food bowl look, so that is why that works perfectly. And of course, you could also use this for cats. Next up, we've got a dresser system, which actually looks very cool because it works as a drawer. As you can see, it's completely empty, so that's surprisingly good. And if you add item frames or signs with handles, it looks very, very good. Now this one is actually another redstone one. I lied a minute ago. So this is a very, very cool technique that we could not previously do. If you're standing up really, really tall, let's go ahead and get some scaffolding so I can show you exactly what I mean. If we go ahead and build up here, and we need a way to wirelessly turn this on, or at least trigger this as a button. Previously, if you threw a block down on a pressure plate, it would have to despawn. This is actually a little bit more interesting. Because of the way the composter works, you can actually throw it right through and it'll treat a pressure plate like a button, and then you can just go up and collect it or let it despawn. The only downside is it doesn't always work perfectly. Sometimes it gets caught on the edge. But all in all, just like that, you can see it got caught. But all in all, it's a very, very interesting way to create a button from a long distance. The only downside, of course, is that it would need to be vertical. Now, I'm wondering if you could put water and allow it to go down from a water stream and actually drop in. That would be something for you to test out. And if you do test it and it works, make sure to let me know on Twitter. I would love to see your designs. Now, last but certainly not least, there are a lot of different ways you can use composters in different, furniture designs than just this. This is just an example of how you can use the blocks for building. You kind of already saw this. We use jungle planks with the composter. That creates a very nice wall, but the bottom texture of the block looks great as well for a ceiling. So that is a very, very awesome way to use it. You can also use it for soil underneath a plant, of course, but in my opinion, the potted plant that we did down there is a little bit better. But all in all, that is essentially the various different ways you can use the composter block for building. So let me know what your thoughts on all of them are in the comments down below, as well as which one was your favorite. That's gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turning on notifications to be alerted whenever I next upload a video. Also, let me know in the comments down below what block you would like me to do next. And like I said, that's gonna be it for today. My name has been System Z. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.